Thank you, Bishop. I would like to appreciate the executive and all the servants of God around the table and everybody else here. I will be speaking on the SADC, especially focusing on South Africa. Just some key things I would want to mention. Amongst the nations that are going for the elections this year, we have Mauritius, which is going to the elections around November. And the last election of Mauritius, they had to do a government of coalition where 4 nations came together to form a coalition and rule the country. Mauritius is very strong on tourism and is doing very well because it's growing at a rate about 5.5% annually in the economy based on tourism. So tourism for them is their main source. And if they have a problem with tourism, Mauritius will not do very well. And I think some of the SADC, or let's say African countries, can learn a lot from Mauritius based on their system of bringing in investors and helping them to operate without heavy taxation. And we also have Madagascar, which recently was a country that went through challenges because of corruption. It's also going on election this year. I think as the SADC, we need to pray for this country. We also have the country of Mozambique, which I believe is one of the neglected countries in the SADC, even amongst us, because it's a Portuguese-speaking nation. We need to give it attention. And as they're going on the election, there is an area called Copa Delgado, which is a gas-rich area of Mozambique, and there is a lot of war going on about who owns that area, because international countries are coming to try and rule that area because there's a lot of gas. And these are some of the problems that Apostle was talking about, that a lot of the wealth in our African countries are not controlled by our people, and villages around that area are struggling. Yet the areas are very rich. I'll leave the issue of Botswana. It's also going on election to the Apostle Mutsumi. We also have Namibia that is going on election this year. And one of the things about Namibia is that it's still battling with freedom from Germany and even the occupation of the Chinese that are coming very strong in the nation of Namibia, that most Namibians are worried. Is it not another sort of colonization because of most of the wealth of Namibia now? It's going into the hands of China. Coming to the South Africa, I would say as a nation in South Africa, we managed to have a crusade sometime this year, end of April. And our focus on the crusade, which was to pray for the election, but also winning souls. By God's grace, we managed to use the Union Building, which is the inauguration ground in the country. It was an impossible mission because nobody has ever used the Union Building for anything else except inauguration. But by God's grace, we managed to get the Union Building and used it for the crusade. And in the crusade, one of the main things that was revealed to us was the possibility of a civil war that would come upon our nation. And we had to rise up and pray because we realized through the uprising of the Mkhonto weSizwe, I think most of us may know that Mkhonto weSizwe, it used to be the army wing of the ruling party, the African National Congress. And most of them are very militant. So we realized this is going to create a problem in our nation if they don't accept either the outcome of the results. And the church had to rise up to pray. And we thank God, thousands of people came for that prayer, to pray for the nation and ask the Lord to divinely protect our nation. These are some of the challenges that we face as South Africa right now, that we need to conquer the spirit that some people were threatening us with civil war. I believe that we are not yet in a position where we can handle coalition government as a nation, because the coalition is failing in municipalities, in smaller locations. So at the present moment, the country is not yet that fully ready to understand how to handle coalition the way Mauritius is handling it. So we need to also pray that good governance should come upon our nation, and the results that come out right now will not bring our nation down. A lot of people are losing hope upon the nation, but we need to emphasize that the church is a solution, and not only through prayer, but its interaction with the government. One of the things we have experienced in South Africa that the church has gone wrong on is that, for a lack of a better word, it can easily be bought by politicians. Like when we did the gathering in the Eden building, one political party approached us and gave us an offer to pay for the whole budget of the gathering. And it's not for the first time. Most of the time, if you're doing a major gathering, political parties approach you and they say, well, you've gathered over 10,000 people. People are listening to you. Give us your budget. Let's pay for it. Give us 15 minutes to talk to the people. So you need to know how to stand your ground. And as a church, and most of the politicians, when they're engaging with you, they will tell you, so-and-so can speak to us, so-and-so we will never listen to him. Half of his church building, we paid for it. So it is one of the tests that the church needs to pass, that even though we are going through financial challenges as churches or as ministries or as individuals, we may never sell what God has given unto us to make, in order to make the ministry easy. And it's one of the challenges that we are facing. And always political parties, especially those who are splitting from the ruling party, when they rise up, they always look for a very strong Christian leader to become their presidential candidate. And after they go through the elections and they've received whatever results that they have, it will not take a year. They will kick him out. It has happened before. I think most South Africans would know about the party called COPE, which was a splinter from the ANC. The leader was Musiwa Lekota. When they went to the election, they took the Archbishop of the Methodists to be their presidential candidate. It did not